Hey, I'm Ross and this is Sky Management, and today we are replacing a hydraulic door closure. This one's old and it started to leak and it's kind of loose and it's time for it to be replaced. So I bought another one that is identical to this one, so I hope all the holes line up and everything, so it'll be an easy swap and we won't have to re-drill anything. We're going into a metal frame on this one, so I'd rather not have to put in new holes and retap it and everything. Sometimes it's a wood frame, and sometimes this hydraulic closure is mounted to the door instead. So there's a couple different layouts and a couple different pieces. If your hydraulic closure is mounted to the door, then you're probably using the plate like this to attach onto the frame so that you've got a place for the arm to attach. It just depends on what your setup looks like. With this one, should be an easy swap. Hopefully everything works out like it's supposed to. The only piece of this that I'm going to keep is the little bracket that's connected to the door. The rest of that, the arm and the mechanism, we're going to replace both of those parts. So my first step is going to be to determine the length of my arm. Since this sets out away from the door a little bit, the back arm is going to be a little bit longer. You can measure off of this how long that it needs to be and kind of adjust it. You want the arm on the door to be almost straight, perpendicular to the door, and then the arm for the mechanism to be over to the side a little bit, which will allow it to swing over. If you're replacing one that was working before, then it was probably lined up correctly, so you can just kind of match the old one. That's the best way to go. So I'm going to go about there. With that length, like I said, I'm going to get rid of this little plate and use this one because one of the screws is stripped out in here and I don't think I'm going to be able to get it out, so I'll just reuse this little bracket. It'll be fine. And we'll pull all of this.
Got the chance to touch the sea. Just up on a shelf, making the sails, going nowhere with no one but me. It was born in 100 billion, burned out star in a galaxy.
Okay, I have the old one completely removed. Time to install the new one. Like I said, I'm going to remove this bracket to put the new arm in. Next, we're going to mount the new mechanism. It's easy for me to tell because the one I had was exactly the same. There are different sizes of these and a couple different shapes, and you may not be able to tell as easily. This one, this is going to be the top side that has these holes in it, and it has to do with which direction that the door opens. This happens to match the same one I had, so it'll go this way. We're going to get it on there good and snug, and then we're going to attach the bottom arm. Now when you're attaching the bottom arm, it's going to go more or less straight back. Put on there. And then when you go to connect it to the other arm, you'll have to pull it over to it so that it always is under a little bit of tension. This arm uses the bolt that has the washer and the spring lock washer already on it. You're going to want to get this one good and tight. The last step of the installation before we'll adjust it for our closure is to connect the two arms. That uses the other bolt that has the washer and the spring washer already on it. This one is just the Phillips head screw. The one that was back here had a hex head and a Phillips head. So the hexagonal one goes back there, and the rounded one goes up front. Now, like I said, you have to pull the arm over in order to connect them. So you have to pull it over a little bit until it reaches. And then you're going to want to look at your lengths here. I think it's a little bit pulled over too far toward me, so I'm going to lengthen this out a little bit. Let's try it again. It's a little better. I'll go ahead and put the screw in and we'll try it. You want to put the screw in before you try opening the door so this doesn't come off and bang around, especially on a glass door. It could be disastrous. Okay, it's all connected. I'm going to go ahead and try the door swing and make sure that it opens all the way that you want it to. And then I'm going to let it come back. Okay, it's shutting pretty hard, which when it comes from the factory it may, depending on what kind of door you have. This one is shutting pretty hard, so there are adjustments on the side here. There's 2 screws, and they're numbered 1 and 2. Let's see which one is which. I think 1 does the first 90%, and then 2 does the last 10%. We'll figure it out. These new ones just take a flat head. A little bit goes a long way on the adjustments, so just doing a half turn or 1 turn can make a big difference. Okay, that shut pretty good. That was just adjusting the number 2, which is the last 10% of the closure. So I'm going to swing it open like somebody was going to walk through, let it close. That's just about perfect. So when adjusting these, if you want the door to close slower all the way, then you want to tighten the 1. If you want it to slow down right at the end, then you want to tighten the 2, and vice versa. So if you want the door to close faster, you want to loosen the 1. If you have a door that has a latch on it, this one does not have a latch, then you may need to loosen the number 2 in order to allow it to pull the door into that latch a little bit harder if it's stiff. But this one works pretty good. I'm happy with it. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.